Hi, this is Rebel DeFi here with a tutorial for anyone who wants to upload a collection, an NFT collection, to the Superbolt platform on Neutron. I'm going to be using two websites for this, the first being the Superbolt testnet site, as well as a tool to create NFTs from some artwork that I have called NFT export. So the first thing I want to do on the Superbolt site is connect my wallet. So as I'm saying, this is the testnet website. I'll leave the URLs below this video. And I want to connect my wallet, and it asks me to approve a transaction just to verify that this is indeed my wallet. And we need to do this for the uploading NFT collection stage. So now I've connected my wallet. That's perfect. So the next thing before I can actually upload some NFTs is I need to create these NFTs. Now I've already got the artwork for my NFTs, but I haven't combined these layers into the actual images, and nor do I have the metadata for the NFTs. So that's what I need to do next. And I'm going to be doing that using this tool, nftexport.io. So what I can do here is just upload the layers of my artwork, and then it'll automatically create the NFT images as well as the metadata which I need to upload to Superbolt. So what I can do here is just paste in the images for each layer. So I've got this background layer set up, and I just copy these images, drop them in. And then we can see I've got 10 backgrounds ready. The next layer I want to add is the robot layer. And again, I just copy in these robot images, or just drag and drop. So I've got 10 robots, and I've got another layer just to add a bit more variety. And I'm calling this faction. And I've created 4 different factions. Okay, so I've got these 3 different layers. I could have up to 400 different NFTs, but I'm just going to make a collection of, say, 200. So the only parts that I want to edit here are the collection size. I guess I could edit the size of the images, but I'm just going to leave it at the default. I don't want to add a prefix because that is unnecessary. The only thing I want to do here is put my collection name, and I'm just calling this the Neutron robot, and I can press next. And that's literally all I had to do to generate these NFTs. So it's got all the images there, and it tells me my rarities. I can go in and start editing things if I want to make things more or less rare, but I don't need to do that for this demonstration. And just click next. So it's got my metadata here, and this is the only thing I don't like about this site, is that it means I need to download NFTs by the 100. So if I do a massive collection, then it is going to mean there's going to be a lot of downloads. But first of all, I'm going to download the metadata, and then just downloading the images. And it downloads this as a zip, which is quite nice. And then I do need to create a zip file for Superbolt to upload to Superbolt. After downloading these zip files and then unzipping them on my computer, we can see that in this metadata folder, it's not actually in the format I want. This is just one big file with all the metadata. So we don't need this. I'm just going to delete that one. And that corresponds to this metadata folder. But then in each of these ones, the items 1 to 100, this has exactly what I want, the images and the metadata for the NFTs I've created. So just go in here, look at the images, 1.png, 2.png, etc. That's exactly what I want to see, and that corresponds to the 1.json, 2.json, etc. And this is the naming convention that I would suggest you use. So by not editing that stuff on the NFT export site, it just does this by default, which is exactly how it should be done. So now I need to combine the items from this folder with the items in this folder to make one images folder and one metadata folder. So we've got 1 to 100 there, that's good. I'm going to go in here, get the images. This is the second 100. So I'm just going to copy all these, go into here and paste them. So now we should see that I've got 1 to 200 all in one folder. That's perfect. And now I need to get the metadata as well. So just copy all these back into this one. And now I've got the JSON files as well, 1 to 200 all in one folder. So I'm just going to rename this file. In fact, I'll delete this one so I don't get confused. And I'm just going to rename this. And I'm also going to compress this because Superbolt wants a zip file to upload the NFTs and the JSON. So I've now got this here. The next step is actually uploading this NFT collection to Superbolt, and I do that in the Foundry section. I just want to create a new collection, and actually you saw there I've got loads of practice collections and stuff. So I mean that's exactly what testnet is for. Easy enough just to delete stuff. Okay, so I'm going to create a new collection. Collection name. Symbol, I'm just going for NR, and that's for integrations with other platforms. For example, like DAO requires this. Description. And I need to pick a category. This may well be a DAO. And then tags just help users find your collection more easily. So seeing as this collection is about robots, I could type in Cyborg. So if someone searches on Cyborg, they should hopefully find this Neutron Robots collection. This is where I want to drop in the artwork for the collection, or the background banner, and then the collection image. So that's like here, this is the banner, and this is the collection image. Again, if we just go into a collection, you can see it here. So the banner covers all this area, and that is the collection image there. So I've got that. I can just drag and drop a banner, and then same thing for a collection image. You can just pick one of these ones, maybe one that stands out, this yellow one here. Just move it a bit. Okay, that looks good, and then I click next. It's asking me for the social links, and again, if we go to a live collection, you can see that the social link information appears after the collection name. I'll just leave this blank for now, and this is the sort of important zip file upload part. It's worth reading through these instructions. I've kind of gone over some of this here, just talking about the importance of the naming convention. Typically it's just 1.jpg, 2.jpg, and that's exactly what we've got. And then the JSON has to correspond exactly with that. So again, 1.json, 2.json, and so on. So I can just drag the zip file that I created, Neutron Robots, over here, and it just uploads to the Superbolt database. This can take a little bit of time depending on the size of your collection. With just a 200 NFT collection, it shouldn't take all that long. This 200 NFT collection actually took a minute or two to upload, but now that it has uploaded, you can see that it's got this check mark here, so that's looking good. And what I can do is go to the final stage to review my NFTs, and I should see NFT images here. That's good. I can just jump through. And 3 traits, just click into this edit section. There should be the background trait, yep, robot trait, and the faction trait. So that's 3 traits. I think this one looks pretty cool actually. So that's all looking good. And then the final stage is publishing the collection to the blockchain. Because I'm on testnet, there is no fee for, well, a tiny fee. I need testnet Neutron for this, so if you're going to practice, you definitely want to get hold of some testnet Neutron. I'll leave the link for that in this below this video. When it comes to uploading to mainnet, there is a $100 fee, so please bear that in mind. That's why it's always best to test on testnet and then don't have any mistakes on mainnet. Final step, just publish to the blockchain. And this is a wallet signature transaction. After publishing to the blockchain, back on the main Foundry page, scrolling down, I can see in the list of my on-chain collections, the Neutron robots now has a contract address, so that means it's been uploaded successfully. And there's 200 NFTs in the collection, none of which have actually been minted yet. And this is the telling me I'm preparing for launch. And I can go in here, click this rocket to configure my launch details. So launch phases is the first one. So this is things like whitelist phase, public mint phase. You can have as many launch phases as you like. For whitelists, you do have to have CSV files with a list of wallet addresses. You can set the whitelists so that each wallet address can have a unique number of mints if you want to do it that way, or there could be a global mint limit, for example 2 or however many NFTs you want to be minted during your whitelist phases. So I've got a CSV file that I can use for whitelist. I can just show you what that looks like. So this example whitelist has a list of Neutron wallet addresses, and in the second column I've set mint limits for each wallet. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. So example, so this is where you put the title of your phase. Starting time, this is in about 24 hours. Time of recording is now, and this is in UTC time. So in the UK it's 2:30, but in UTC that means it's 1:30. So if I can start it there, that means it'll essentially start straight away. Typically, like, I'd set this, in fact I'll do what I'd normally do. I'd normally decide on what the launch date for this collection is. I'd do this well ahead of time. So maybe I'm going to be minting starting on Friday the 22nd, say at 2 o'clock UTC. So that's the start phase. Now this, I could leave it open-ended, but maybe I want to close this off, so I'm going to add an end time, and I'll give them minters, say 2 weeks. So on September the 5th, Friday, 2 weeks after the opening of this whitelist phase, it will close off. And the mint price I can set, on mainnet you can actually change this to be Neutron, Atom or USDC, but on testnet it's just set for Neutron. So I'll set the mint price for this whitelist at 10, sorry no I won't, I'll set it at 1 testnet Neutron, and I've not updated or uploaded a whitelist yet, but I want to do that. Select the whitelist and upload it. saying there's 11 addresses, which is correct. Now notice there are different numbers here. So this is the mint limit, so there's 3 to 9. But then if we look back here, it says 3 to 3. And this is because there's a limit here. So this limit takes precedence over the whitelists you upload. So because I've got a wallet with 9 mints on the whitelist, and that's the largest number, I need to actually change this to 9. And we can see that it updates here. Now, if you're not doing individual wallet mint limits, and you just want each wallet to be able to mint, say, 3 NFTs, you could just click 3 there. And in which case you wouldn't have this column in your whitelist. But the way I'm doing it, I need to set this to the largest number in my whitelist. And that looks good. And I'm just going to click Add Launch Phase, sign a transaction, and we can see we've got this launch phase here. And then I also want to add a public launch phase, and this will be starting not on the 22nd but the day after, 23rd. So that gives the whitelist people a full 24 hours to mint NFTs. And I will also set an ending date. You don't have to set an ending date. Some collections just leave this open-ended and the mint will stay open. In fact, maybe for public I won't actually include an end time. And the mint price in public will be 2 Neutron, or 2 testnet Neutron. And because this is a public mint, there's no need for me to upload any sort of whitelist. And then just add a launch phase here. And again, it's great to be practicing this stuff on testnet so that you're not making any errors on mainnet with your real collection. Royalties is where you'd set the royalties for your collection, percentage that you want to charge, and that's for every transaction, every time someone buys an NFT on the Superbolt marketplace. You can also send royalties to a single wallet, multiple wallets, split it however you want really. Going into manual mint, this is a tool that creators might want to use. What I can do here as a creator is I can batch mint or mint a particular range of NFTs. Typically, personally, I do this batch mint one, but it basically means I can send some NFTs from the collection or mint some NFTs from the collection to a personal wallet or to a DAO wallet that I might want to use for sort of marketing purposes or for giveaways, or just to have some NFTs held by the actual collection itself. So I just go into this batch mint section, paste in a wallet address, and the default is to send 10 NFTs, random NFTs from the collection to this wallet specified here. I can change it from anything from 1 NFT to 100 NFTs, and that's easy enough to do. I'll just send 1 to this wallet address. This wallet isn't actually mine. And here we go, I can mint and send, so that's the random NFT it picked. And you can just keep adding random NFTs and then mint and send those to a particular wallet. I won't actually do that just now. Particle Accelerator, this is for fractionalization, which is actually live on testnet. I guess I'll do a separate video about this section. It's pretty cool. Metadata updates is where if I want to change the banner, change this icon, change information about the collection. I think when I was putting that in originally, I was saying that I could edit it later on. This is where I would come to edit that later on. And now, because I've added these launch phases, if I go to this mint page, I would expect to see, or I might expect to see, my collection appear here, but it's not. So that's a bit weird. So going back to Foundry, we can see that there's a collection address here. So if I copy the collection address, go to Browse, go into a collection, hopefully it's minting. Yep, it's minting here. I can just actually edit the URL with my collection address. Just going to paste that in, enter, and hopefully, yep, it's showing the Neutron robots mint page or NFTs page. There's nothing there because they haven't actually been minting. The mint is coming, so I'm not on, my address isn't on the whitelist, so that shows this non-eligible stage. But there's also the public stage coming up in 11 days. So everything's here, everything's configured. This looks great, but the issue is the Neutron robots aren't appearing on this page. Go to the home page. Let's look for Neutron robots. Nope, they're not on this page either. So that is to do with the Superbolt team's admin console. Anyone can upload a collection to Superbolt, but you definitely want to work with us to make sure we're aware of your collection being updated so that we can add it to these mint pages and the home page. And the reason for that is, if it was completely permissionless, well, Superbolt is permissionless, anyone can upload a collection, but that doesn't necessarily mean your collection is going to appear on the website. And the reason for that primarily is because if any collection could get uploaded, people could just upload rubbish collections and they would just start taking up space on the website. We want to work with creators to ensure that it's high quality collections that we are approving to display on the mint page and on the home page. So you definitely want to get in touch with myself at rebel_DeFi or DM the Superbolt Twitter account. So there's numerous ways to get in touch with us, and the idea is that you'll do that well ahead of time so that we can work together and focus on the marketing of your project so that it reaches as many people as possible. Super easy for me to make sure that collections do appear. I just go into this admin console. You won't have access to this. I can then look for all the collections, and yet we see here Neutron robots, there's no ticks. So if I click verified and then go back to the mint page, we can now see that Neutron robots is now an upcoming collection on Superbolt. We are keen to work with lots of creators. We're keen to work with creators who want to promote their own project, and let's plan things well in advance so that you're able to upload your collection, set up all your launch phases, and then we're able to then just tick a box so that you then appear on this mint page. I mean, particularly for marketing, you want to be on this mint page before your project goes live, like at least a week, maybe 2 weeks even, so that you can promote this. We can promote this on social media, get people excited for the collections, and then hopefully bring more people to mint your NFTs. If you'd like any additional details about setting things up on Foundry, please just get in touch. We can create more videos. We can also discuss things in DMs. If you've got any further questions about anything related to uploading NFT collections to Superbolt Foundry, marketing your NFT collection and such like, please just get in touch.